All right. I wanted to give a huge shout out to someone who is not a part of the conference team, but I have been seeing in the chat that this person should be hired by the conference team. And that is, I believe her or their name is Prima. Prima has been providing you all with full recipes with a lot of the recaps. Prima has really literally been coming through. So Prima, if you want a job, reach out to me. Prima is the VIP outside of the conference team, gave the conference team. Prima literally is like the VIP conference team, providing all the recipes, writing down everything, putting the notes in the chat, and it's been extremely helpful. So Prima, I wanted to show deep gratitude to you, whomever you are. Thank you so much. Please, in the VIP session, if you can come up so we can see your face. But we appreciate you. So y'all go ahead and just drop a whole bunch of emojis for Prima because they really have been coming through and we value you so much. Now, y'all, it is my session and we got about 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start my session and then we're going to hop to the VIP and then that's going to be it. Today is a very, very quick day. Prima, I hope you see all this love you're getting. You were on it, on it. Talk about full recipes. And it was formatted too. I'm like, okay, Prima, all right, we definitely need to hire you. So let me go ahead. Yes, I am. I am going to introduce myself. Yeah, I haven't forgot. I wanted to save it for my section. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen so I can give you all a little brief little something. Because again, I told y'all I was not going to present today. And that's mainly because I wanted to let the other speakers shine. This conference wasn't for me. This conference, I founded the conference, I didn't start the conference, but this conference was to give a platform to the other speakers. I can host workshops and webinars anytime, but I wanted to give a platform for people who normally wouldn't have the opportunity to share their healing message with the thousands of people, over 1,000 people who enrolled. And so that's why I'm like, you know what, let me take a step back from what I do and let me, help uplift other BIPOC creators so that they can spread their knowledge to all of you. So that's why I wasn't keen on speaking, but I'm like, okay, people are like, bro, it's your conference, you have to speak. So what I thought of doing is I'm like, you know what? Why don't you share all the make me cry, y'all? Y'all emotional. Y'all stop with the hearts. The brown hearts. Thank you so much. I told myself I would not cry. I would not cry. But let me go ahead and get into it. Get into into what I have for you all. So this is actually a an unreleased course, an excerpt from a course that I am launching next year. Okay. So some of you, I'm not even sure. I know I do have some of my students here in the conference. And so some of you had the opportunity. Okay, I see one. Who is that? Amber? I see. All I saw was a 108. I see some students. Yes, yes, future students, student here. And it was Amber from 8020T. Okay, Jasmine, Derek. Okay, y'all are in the house. So I think Amber, I think you came to the Herbalism and Tea Mentorship program. Is there anyone in here who came to my very first Herbalism and Tea Mentorship program that I released last year, where I taught you all herbalism with the focus of herbal tea? So I see Michelle said yes. Amber says I came to all of them. Sharon, okay. So I revamped that whole course. It was a very super quick, like 4-week course, something insane, where I taught you all a condensed version of herbalism with a focus on herbal tea. I taught you all how to heal your body using herbal tea. So we went through the whole body system. We went through your nervous system on down to your respiratory system, every part of your body we introduced. We went over anatomy, we broke it down, and we actually taught you how to heal your body with herbal tea. And so I'm releasing that course again in the winter time, so next year. And so I've been revamping that course, and I thought, you know what, why don't I do a little, behind the scenes of that course. And so this is an excerpt of that course that is coming back next year, and that course was sold out. So just a little disclaimer before we get started. Whenever I start talking about herbs, I always give a disclaimer, and that is for everything that's mentioned in this conference. Everything, even the suggestions that people made, about pregnancy and using certain herbs. Just know this information is for educational purposes only. Okay, anything in this conference is for educational purposes only. So please make sure before you adopt any herbs into your diet or lifestyle, I don't care what it was that was mentioned today or yesterday, before you take it, before you go and order it, make sure that the herb is right for you. Herbs do have contraindications with certain medication, with certain wellness issues, with children, with pregnancy, with elderly. So please make sure to do your own research and consult your healthcare practitioner before adopting any herbs in your diet. So this is what y'all was waiting for, okay? The introduction of me. So this is an excerpt for the herbalism and tea course that I hosted. Also in my tea workshops, I have that in here. So I'll go ahead and let it be known who I am. I can't believe I waited to the last minute to introduce you all. And some of you all don't even know who I am. Some of you all are here from other speakers. So who am I? My name is Abril Dane. I go by Abril, but you'll find me as Abril Dane. I might say that on social media. I am an herbal tea practitioner. So what is an herbal tea practitioner? It is somebody who learns herbalism, who uses herbalism with a focus on herbal tea. So I help people start their journey or their path to wellness using herbal tea. Herbal tea is a form of medicine. Okay, just like tinctures are a form of medicine, you can take a potent herbal tea just as potent as a tincture. And so that is my focus, because I'm the herbal tea person. I use herbal tea to put myself and my journey on the path to herbal wellness, and tea is amazing. So I am an herbal tea expert. I have studied everything when it comes to the herbal tea constituents, the herbal tea nutrients, the phytochemicals and compounds inside of the herbs. I have studied extensively to know which herbs pair well with other herbs, as well as to know how to craft and curate the perfect herbal tea blend that's going to do what it needs to do. That is my jam, is blending. I got my start with making custom herbal tea blends for wellness issues. I have pretty much mastered making specific custom herbal tea blends. So people will come to me and say, Abril, I need me a diabetes tea, but I want it to be blueberry and chocolate. I will make them a blueberry and chocolate diabetes tea. Abril, I need me a tea for arthritis, but I want it to be pineapple and tropical mango. I would make them a pineapple tropical mango diabetes tea or arthritis tea. So that is what I specialize in. I am also a tea sommelier, and I have a tea business. So I started off on these herbal streets with a tea business. I started my tea business, and within a year, it was honestly 6 months to a year, I was able to turn this little old tea business into a multi-six-figure herbal tea brand. And for those of you who are wondering where the teas are, the teas are coming back. They were supposed to be back this fall. We went through a slight relaunch this year, but the reason why they're not back yet is because this conference. I decided to set the teas aside and focus on bringing you all this conference, but I did sell herbal teas. I still do sell herbal teas. We're just rebranding. And so I sold herbal teas on wellness, and that's coming back soon. And so what makes myself a specialized So let me rephrase that. So what helps me to pretty much excel in this area of formulating, of blending, and that is because not only did I take all of the training, it comes to learning herbs and learning the constituents of herbs. I also travel, I mentioned this several times, to 15 other countries, indigenous countries, to learn how to blend tea from our ancestors. So when I go to these countries, y'all, I actually would ask them, how did you prepare these herbal tea blends? That's how I know that a lot of these cultures would measure herbs by the palm of their hands. That's how I knew, is because I was in these countries. I would go in the forest and go foraging for a lot of these herbs. I would be invited to the local village, and I would make herbal medicine with the local medicine woman and medicine man. And a lot of tribes, the medicine person is a medicine woman. When I was over in Kenya, everyone I met were medicine women in the village, and it was amazing. And so that is how I learned how to make herbal tea for my ancestors. So I combine my knowledge and my training. I have over 13 years of training to be an herbalist. It is a collection of self-taught knowledge, as well as I went through five programs, herbal programs. But I told y'all that wasn't enough for me. So I then traveled the world to learn how to make herbal tea. And so I am trained. I do have a medical background in speech therapy. So I have been trained on the body, anatomy of the body. And I've combined all of that to bring you all to bring you all my specialty, which is herbs and herbal tea. And over to date, I've made over 500 custom tea blends, y'all. Ain't that crazy? Over 500 custom tea blends. And this has been for businesses. I have made custom tea blends for big businesses out there. I'm not going to drop who, but it's a little NDA sign. I have made those, as well as custom tea blends for individuals. And I've only been in business for 3 years. I've only been in business for 3 years. I started my business in 2020, November 2020, and I have been able to pretty much do all of this in 3 years. The traveling started way before I started my business. The learning started before I started my business. The learning, again, it's been 13 or so years. But as far as growing my business to a big brand, as well as being able to host events like this, where we have over 1,000 people enrolled, y'all, 3 years. And I also offer courses. So I offer herbal tea courses, and conference team, if you're there, if you could collect or make a little list of my links as well, that would be great. But I also have courses. So I do have herbal courses that teach you how to conference team already on it. Look at that. And I didn't even tell him to have my links ready. We appreciate it, conference team. Yes, thanks, Gabe. You are on it. But I do offer herbal tea courses. So I have courses on how to blend and formulate herbal tea. So those of you asking, how do you know how to pair which herbs to which? I have a whole course on that. It's called Mastering Tea Blending and Formulation. If you want to learn how to start an herbal business, I got you. I have a whole course on that. It's called the Herbal Business Assistant course, and I teach you how to start an herbal business, whether it's a tea business, anything from scratch. Okay, from idea to all the way to making your first $1,000. And with that, my business has pretty much progressed, and I've changed. It's progressed to also being a business coach and helping people start a business, because I've been so successful in this field. Again, in 3 years, a multi six-figure brand, I've made it my mission to not gatekeep and to help people who look like me be able to live a sustainable life, be able to be self-sustainable and live from the earth and exit the matrix and exist in happiness and peace. And so that has been my mission, because I realize that a lot of people who don't look like me, they don't have this access to knowledge. When people learn that the system, they learn the algorithm, they learn how to be free, they don't share. And I don't understand why that is. Why shouldn't I share how to unlock the code to to making money, to being successful in your business. Each one teach one. Yes, I do have that mentality. A lot of people, unfortunately, in my community, we don't have that mentality. So it's been my mission. And so on top of offering courses for business, I also offer courses to help you learn how to make money in your business. So maybe you want to make an extra 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, $15,000. I've offered one-off workshops for that called my six-figure boot camp. There are people in here that have came to the six-figure boot camp, and I see people. I actually believe AO came to the six-figure boot camp. And it's so amazing to see people who have actually put it into practice. That's the best part. So I can talk all day. Let's go ahead and get into this knowledge. Okay. So today, this is different. This is going to be different than what I've offered before in the past. Those couple of, I'm reading and talking at the same time. Ailes in this chat, she said it was amazing. Yes, it was. It was a vibe, y'all. I taught in that six-figure boot camp, I taught you how to sell anything on Instagram, how to market your herbal business on Instagram, because that is where I excel at. I forgot to mention on my social media streets, I have over 500,000 followers currently on social media with my Instagrams, with my YouTube, and conference team. Drop it in the chat. I will also plug it at the end to where to follow me. Conference team is on it. Those are my socials again, where I have my 500,000 family. So in this little excerpt from the course, this is something that's different that I did from that I did in the past. So we're going to talk about indigenous cultures and herbal tea, as well as indigenous cultures and harvesting. So say some of you are in here, and I know there's growers in here. Put it in the chat. Drop some green hearts in the chat if you're a grower, meaning that you grow food in back of your backyard, or you have land. You're growing food in your patio. Drop some green hearts. Even if you want to start growing, drop some green hearts. Yes, yes. I know I did advertise this on my farming page. I'm also a farmer. I forgot to tell y'all, I'm a farmer too. So I know there are some growers in here. So I'm going to give you some of the indigenous aspects behind growing too. And I know we talked about permaculture, so we did talk about that indigenous part behind, regenerative agriculture and the trendy words. It's just how the indigenous folks grew. It's how they tended to the land. So I'm gonna shed a little bit more light on that, as well as some of these ancestral tea practices and how to use that to start an ethical herbal tea business. So a lot of green hearts in this chat. So a lot of people who want to start and who have already started, amazing. So again, an excerpt from a previous course. This is why I love tea. This is why I'm such a big proponent of herbal tea. This is why all I do is tea. If you go on my Instagram, it's called Beauty Herbs and Tea. This is why I promote tea. First of all, tea is a vibe, okay? It's the second most consumed herbal beverage or beverage in the world outside of water. If you go to other countries outside of the US, they drink tea for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, another snack, midnight snack. We are the only ones over here who are not up on tea like they are over in other countries, okay? And then tea is affordable. It's extremely affordable compared to everything else. It is also a tradition. You will learn about that coming up. Okay, thank you, Derek. He says my courses are the truth. They're amazing. I mean, I made them, so I can concur. I agree that they are amazing. But it is tradition, and it's also easily absorbed, meaning that you can consume the tea. When you consume it in your mouth, you have little blood capillaries under your tongue that will go straight into your bloodstream. It's also potent. It's the second most potent form of herbal medicine outside of tinctures. But again, you can make a strong decoction, okay, a strong decoction. And it can give tinctures a run for their money. And then also it's easy to prepare. I don't know about you. I know how to make tinctures. I just don't like doing it. I don't like doing it because you got to wait 4 weeks in order for it to be ready. Who got time for that? Not me. I want my tincture to be ready when it's ready. Now, there are other methods that you can do. There are other methods. You can do the heat method where you take the tincture and you put it in a crock pot, and it can speed up the time with it. You can let it simmer I guess, in a crock pot with a towel underneath the bottom. In about 3 days, you can have a potent tea blend that is as potent as a tea blend that has been sitting for 4 to 8 weeks. That was the question, was how long do you let your tincture sit? For about 4 to 8 weeks. But again, I don't have time for that. And so I also don't want to do the sped up method, because who does? Like, that's taken away from the process. So I don't have time for 4 to 6 weeks. I don't have time for 4 to 8 weeks. I want my herbs and I want it now. So I always include that slide in a lot of my courses. But tinctures are easy. Like, their tinctures are great for the herbs that are disgusting. Unfortunately, a lot of herbs taste like trash. A lot of herbs do not taste good, okay? They say the bitter the herbs, the better the herbs are for you. That is true. Most herbs that are the most beneficial are the most disgusting herbs out there in the world. But guess what, y'all? I still take them. I will throw that thing back like a tequila shot, okay? Like a tequila shot. And I will take it because it works. I know it's gonna work. I'm serious, y'all. I will have my shot, like my shot glass of herbs. I got the lime and the salt. I will take it as, that's actually a trick to taking to taking bitter herbs, because the lime and the salt helps cut the taste of the bitterness. Try it at home. If you try it, shout me out and say Abril Abril recommended it. I can't chase it with apple cider vinegar. That's nonsense too. I would be chasing two things, two potent things. But yes, I do take my teas, the bitter teas, like a shot. So tinctures have a place. They have a place because it's easy and it's a quick way to take herbs. So let's talk about indigenous traditions when it comes to tea. So again, traveled the world. I traveled the world to learn about herbal tea, and herbal tea is deeply infused in so many cultures around the world. So they say tea got its start over in China. That's what they say. But when they say that, they're talking about the tea, the technical term for tea, the caffeinated tea, as in Camellia sinensis. Camellia sinensis is the technical term for the caffeinated tea plant that gives you black tea, green tea, oolong tea, and white tea. Believe it or not, all of those caffeinated teas come from one plant, which is Camellia sinensis. And the caffeine content, the way you get the different teas and caffeine content, is due to how it is processed and harvested. So there's a ancient Chinese story of how this man discovered, this tea, and many people, or this plant Camellia sinensis, and many people use that to say that tea originated in Africa. But believe it or not, our ancestors have always, even outside of Africa, they've always been infusing herbs, literally taking herbs, steeping it in water. It's tea. That's tea. If you drink it, it's tea. If it's not drank, it's other infusions as well. So yes, let's talk about some indigenous traditions as well. I mentioned in the beginning that I am somebody with mixed Nigerian and Seminole heritage. I mentioned when the conference first started that unfortunately the people who held on to the traditions in my family, they passed away when I was at a very young age. So actually, when I was 9 years old, I was the last person who practiced those traditions in my family. And even that person, I was told that she was a witch, or, oh, she's doing this and doing that. And it wasn't later on until I grew up to realize that grandma wasn't a witch. She was an herbalist. She was just using herbs and knowledge from her culture, from her indigenous culture. And so again, none of my family kept any of the traditions that practice. My family, a lot of them are from outside of Nigeria, from Florida, where the Seminole tribes are. And so I went on this whole journey to learn again more about my culture. And it's very hard to learn about specific cultures. And so on my process, I just accumulated knowledge of, a lot of indigenous cultures. So again, indigenous peoples in North America, we have a rich tradition of medicine. So you got Cherokee, Navajo, Apaches, all types of indigenous cultures, all of them use plants for their medicinal properties. For example, the Cherokees would use echinacea, blackberry, and passion flower for various remedies. And these practices are honestly kept really tight, and it's passed down from generations through word of mouth and traditions. But someone like me, I lost that word of mouth and traditions. And so I had to go on a journey to relearn some of those things. So some common herbs that are consumed in for indigenous tea. So these are herbs that some indigenous tribes will consume as tea. So you have yapon leaves that are boiled and strained and taken for energy and stamina. It actually has caffeine content in it. Sassafras roots are scrubbed, so they're cleansed and rinsed and boiled to treat a range of health issues, including fever, rheumatism, skin conditions, and general tonic. Juniper leaves. We got juniper everywhere. Okay, juniper is grown a lot in the western part of the United States, but we've always been told not to eat the berries. We've always been told, don't eat those berries, they're gonna kill you. But do you know they won't kill you? Actually, the indigenous folks use those, and y'all know what berries I'm talking about. Majority of y'all, I grew up in Michigan. I am from Detroit, Michigan, and we have these little bushes, these little berry bushes everywhere. And I was told as a kid, don't eat them, they'll kill me. It's poisonous. But really, our ancestors actually used those berries. They used those berries and they were boiled and simmered for cough congestions and pain reliefs. And cedar is an amazing plant that was used not only for tea, but for ceremonial purposes. Okay, Southfield, we got Michigan in the house. All right, all right. Yes, cedar is it's used and it could be taken for fevers, colds, and viruses. So let's talk about more about cedar, because cedar is actually a sacred plant to many indigenous tribes. So it's often regarded as a spiritually significant plant. And it's believed to connect people with the spiritual world and serves as a bridge between the spiritual and physical realm. So it's commonly been used in various purification and cleansing rituals. All right, we have a lot of Detroit. Okay, Detroit. I'm looking at the chat. We have a lot of Detroit folks in the chat. That's where my family is from. I did grow up in Detroit. Yes, even though I've been all over the world, that is where I am from. It's so nice to see some of my old stomping grounds in the chat. But back to cedar. It has been used. It is again, sacred plant, and it's been used for smudging and to purify places and people and home. Okay, it's great for purification as well. Cedar as well as sage. Sage has also been used, and for a lot of purification. The act of smudging is actually indigenous. I mean, it originated to indigenous people. That when you go ahead and you take your sage smudge and you're cleansing the air in your house, that is an indigenous practice that is sacred to indigenous tribes. So I encourage all of you to go ahead and research after you jump off of this conference. Research the sacred art of smudging, because that is an appropriated practice that a lot of westernized folks took from indigenous tribes, and now it's commodified to the point where sage is being over harvested. So let's go ahead, and someone asked what part of cedar. You can use the leaves and the barks. The barks are often used for a lot of like the purification and the cleansing, as well as the incense, the burning. But for the tea, you can actually use the leaves. So it's often used to protect against negative energies and spirits or influences. And it also has a place in homes. It's carried around your neck to ward off evil. The smoke is burned from cedar, and it's also again used to cleanse and purify individuals and objects as well. It's believed to provide emotional and spiritual healing and help individuals find inner strength during times of hardship. The specific uses of cedar, again, it varies among different indigenous tribes. So just know that the way one tribe uses it may not be the way that other tribe uses it. And let's jump in. So we're going to highlight a few indigenous cultures because again, tea is a vibe everywhere. And another indigenous culture that often use tea is Chinese culture. And we learned about traditional Chinese medicine, aka TCM, yesterday from Dr. Lynn Love. And when it comes to Chinese medicine, tea dates back thousands of years. Okay. Again, I told you all that story in the beginning. There is a Chinese fable of a man that discovered tea, the Camellia sinensis plant. He was sitting, at his place one day and the leaves blew. He had some water boiling on the fire and the leaves blew into the water. And he was like, let me go ahead and drink that. And he drank it. He was like, oh, these don't taste bad. And that's how the Chinese believe that Camellia sinensis was discovered from this man, the tea plant, the caffeinated tea plant. And so in other countries, when you hear tea, they do refer to tea as a caffeinated plant. So in China, tea means caffeinated. In the UK, tea means caffeinated. Okay. Now in other countries, herbal tea, we call it tisanes or tisanes. But if you go somewhere, if you go to the UK and say, I want some tea, they're going to give you a green tea or a black tea. You have to specify and say, I want an herbal tea. All right. So again, the Chinese infused all types of herbs and took it for general tonic. All right. So they would have herbs like ginseng, chrysanthemum, astragalus to treat various issues and ailments. And many of these are an integral part of traditional Chinese medicine. So yesterday we learned about qi, that vital force that's within us, okay? And so astragalus is boiled and simmered, and it is taken as classified as a tonic in TCM. So when it comes to the fundamental concepts of traditional Chinese medicine, it represents that, again, vital energy force. We learned about that yesterday. All right. Now, astragalus is also believed to strengthen and replenish the energy and promoting vitality and resilience. It is often used to address fatigue, weakness, and a lack of energy. So again, astragalus tea is made out of a decoction. So you boil it, let it simmer for about 30 minutes. It's made out of a decoction, and that tea was taken for life force. So I'm looking in the chat. What's going on in the chat? Do y'all have any questions? What's going on? Somebody inform me in the chat. A whole lot. Is there anything that I should address? Oh, you're talking about smoke bowls. Okay. Burning herbs in bowls. Okay. All right, so let's go on. Astragalus can also be used in broths as well. The Chinese had it figured out. They had it figured out. They were drinking their herbs. They were making broths and soups out of their herbs. I just purchased a book, and it is on my little Amazon list that I have in my bio on Instagram. I have an Amazon list for books to purchase, indigenous herbalism books to purchase. Conference team, if you can find that link for me, that'll be great. It is on my Instagram bio. It is my Amazon link to my Amazon store of all indigenous herbalism books written by indigenous people. And I actually bought a book that has some Chinese, some TCM food or soup recipes. So let's talk about African tea traditions. So my culture, I am Nigerian again, but I didn't have the privilege of growing up in my culture, unfortunately, but I did go back and I relearn myself, relearn my cultures and traditions. So in indigenous African cultures across the continent, we have a rich history of herbal medicine. From the Khoisan people in South Africa, they've used certain herbs for, I'm like losing my place on the screen. I'm trying to pay attention to the chat. I'm in the chat and I'm on the screen. So let me close out of the chat so that I can read the screen. But yes, many tribes use herbs for a variety of wellness issues when it comes to appetite suppressants. Yoruba people, when it comes to bitter leaf, okay, was used for a variety of purposes. And we're going to get into, I'm not sure if I included a few, but we'll see coming up. But these practices of taking an herb and letting it steep, it is very common throughout many different African tribes. And honestly, a lot of these practices are still practiced today. I see someone talking about a $10 workshop. Which workshop are we talking about? Oh, thank you, conference team, for plugging the BIPOC herbalism book list. You all can go to the chat to find a book list. Those of you who have been asking for books throughout the whole conference. I'm not sure if you all are talking about my $10 tea workshop series that I had recently. If you all are, I did have those workshops, and I may be including those workshops in the bundle. Possibly. Possibly. They're gone, but it's sold out. But I may be including those in the bundle. So it might be coming back if you missed them. We don't know. So let's go ahead and talk about one of my favorite infusions. We don't have time to talk about all of us. Right now, it's actually VIP time, but I feel like all of you are on here. It's VIP time, so it's okay if we go a little bit over. So common tea in Africa that was used, neem leaves. Neem is so potent. It's so disgusting, but it's so potent. Neem is one of those bitter plants. Okay, those bitter plants that it's just like, I don't want to drink it, but I need to. I'm gonna throw it back like a shot and drink it. Okay. But neem over in Africa is boiled and simmered to treat various infections such as malaria. Different parts of the neem tree, including the leaves, the barks, the seeds, the oil, and all of these parts are used to treat a wide variety and a range of health issues. Some common uses include treating skin conditions such as eczema and psoriasis, and even acne, digestive issues, and other various infections. Okay, yes, neem is also a natural pesticide, which is right on this screen. It's a natural pesticide, and it was used as an insect repellent by different people who attended out to the land. So they would rub it on themselves as well as take the actual. So there is a plant property if you buy commercial neem oil. There's actual, it goes through an extraction process to make sure you're getting the right actual extraction. But the indigenous people didn't do all that. They just took a neem and they boiled it and they put it around the plants. So what happens is the neem is absorbed by the actual plant, and then the plant actually starts producing the antibacterial property that the neem has. And now those bugs that love your plant, they stop eating them. I had a problem with hornworms this year, and the hornworms were tearing my tomatoes up. This one hornworm ate a whole pepper plant. How do you eat a whole pepper plant? He ate a whole pepper plant, y'all. Talk about plant this big. Ate a whole plant. And so I went and I sprayed some neem on there. It took about a couple of days for it to kick in. And within a couple of days, I didn't see no more hornworms, no more hornworms. It also worked for grasshoppers who like to eat the plants. It worked for a lot of pests, honestly. The twigs of neem, have been traditionally used as a natural toothbrush in certain African communities. And honestly, I've been in certain tribes where they still use toothbrushes or plants for toothbrushes because it's antibacterial. Chewing on the twigs may help promote good oral hygiene, reduce plaques, and fight oral infections. Yes, hornworms are like vicious. They are vicious. People might think, oh, they're gonna turn into a cute butterfly. No, kill them, burn them, give them chickens, give them to the chickens. Give them to the chickens. They will decimate your crops if you leave them. If you see a fat, juicy, green-like worm, go and burn it. I drop it in some water and let it drown. I'm that person. Look, it's me or my food. Okay, it's you or my food. I'm choosing my food and feeding my family every time. So let's talk about ancestral ways of harvesting. So again, we're tapping into this growing inside of us. So the ancestors had ancestral ways of harvesting. And I believe somebody asked this question before when it comes to harvesting with the moon cycles. So many of our ancestors actually followed the universe to help them learn how to harvest their food. And so something that was common in many indigenous cultures was harvesting with the moon cycle. So indigenous cultures often have traditional practices associated with the moon cycle, including timing of plant harvesting. These practices can vary significantly among different indigenous groups and are typically rooted in deep connection to nature, spirituality, and belief in the influence of the moon of the plant for its growth and potency. So the lunar calendar, for example, indigenous communities may follow a lunar calendar that provides guidance on when to harvest, on when to plant, or when to engage in agricultural and herbal activities. These calendars are often based on the observation of the moon phase and its impact on nature. Now, let's get into some of these cycles. You can actually practice this as well. When you talk about indigenous methods of farming, when you talk about farming in the ways of your ancestors, you can practice this as well. Okay, so when it comes to moon phases, indigenous communities may use specific moon phases, such as the full moon or the new moon, as reference points for plants and harvesting. Now, different phases are believed to be associated with different energies and plant and properties in the plants. So again, different phases will let you know, oh, this plant is ready. This plant is ready at its peak. Let me pick this plant, during this moon phase, okay? Now, for example, the full moon is often considered a time of heightened energy and vitality in plants. Some indigenous cultures believe that medicinal herbs harvested during a full moon are more potent. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? So if you are growers, if you are farmers, harvest your plants during a full moon. That moon is giving those plants the energies, and that is when they are the most potent. I actually learned of this when I traveled to Belize. Actually, I learned of this when I was foraging in the forest, and I was asking my guide about some of the plants, and he was telling me, like, you take this during this time, but make sure, for example, he was saying about cedar. He said, make sure you're taking the cedar bark during a certain moon cycle. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? Why does it matter? And he said it was important because of the amount of medicine that was available, during the moon cycle. You wanted to harvest it during the full moon. And that's when I learned over in Belize about the importance of moon cycles. So we talked about the full moon. Full moon is also associated with the gathering of plants for spiritual and ceremonial purposes. And so new moon is associated with new beginnings, and it's often a time when certain plants are believed to have a fresh burst of new growth and vitality. So indigenous people would harvest specific herbs and plants for healing during this phase. You can apply the same thing. Same thing can be applied to you as well. So if you want to harvest a plant again for healing, for specific purposes, you can harvest it during the new moon cycle. So are these, did I just add this? I think I just talked about that. All right, so this is also on the next slide, the previous slide, but this down here is new. So some indigenous traditions link specific moon signs or constellations with harvesting certain plants. They believe that the position of the moon and stars can influence the quality and the effectiveness of the harvested herbs. And so let's talk about some rituals and ceremonies. So I remember you all, I think you all remember me telling you that I've been drawn to ancient Mayan culture when it comes to a lot of their rituals and a lot of their practices. And I'm going to share some things that I have learned from traveling over to Mexico, to the Yucatec Mayan, place where a lot of these practices, these traditional ceremonies are practices in Yucatec, in Mexico, as well as the Mayans are also in certain parts of Belize and Guatemala. So that's where the knowledge has been the most rich for me when I have journeyed over there. So a lot of this information has been associated with what I've learned there. So harvesting according to the moon cycle may involve specific rituals and ceremonies to honor the spiritual significance of the process. These rituals can vary widely between different indigenous cultures, and this is not specific to Mayans. This can apply to many indigenous cultures, indigenous Native Americans, Africans, a lot of indigenous cultures use the moon cycle. The timing of plant harvesting is based on the moon cycle and may also be influenced by regional and seasonal factors. Indigenous cultures often emphasize sustainable harvesting practices to ensure the continued availability of medicinal plants. This includes leaving some plants to regenerate, okay? Talk about regenerative agriculture. Who did it first? Okay, do you see who did it first? So this includes leaving some plants to regenerate, again, respecting the gathering quotas and showing gratitude to the earth and for its resources. So not over harvesting, leaving some food. Prima asks, have I done a sweat lodge? I have done a Temescal before in Mexico, and it was a transformational, mind-blowing, intense experience. It was rough. I don't know how I made it out. But that was a sweat lodge. For those of you who, it's another ritual that has been used in Mayan culture to cleanse, to manifest, to do a whole bunch of things. Yes, I have done one. So again, this culture that I've been drawn to, I feel like the most countries that I've been to outside of Africa, I've been to a lot of cultures that practice a lot of ancient Mayan healing. What is the ritual spell? Prima, I know you're on it. Can you put a Temescal in the chat for us? So ancient Mayan cultures, let's talk more about them and when it comes to harvesting. So the Yucatec Maya use the Sokin, calendar for divinatory and ceremonial activities. So they use two calendars. You have a short day calendar and a long day calendar. And I've seen the calendar before. It's pretty dope. It has all types of different, these little, these symbols that you see on the screen. It has all types of those, and then each symbol was used on certain days, and that symbol would tell you literally on that day how to harvest, what to do. It's a pretty amazing calendar. And so this particular calendar is a 260-day calendar that was primarily, it governed ceremonial and divinatory activities. So they use this one calendar for this, okay? And then this calendar consisted of 20 name days combined with 13 numerical coefficients. And the Mayans believed that each day and the Tzolk'in calendar had its own unique energy and significance. Some of those days were considered more auspicious for planting and harvesting crops. Okay? They use a second calendar. So you have the Hab calendar, which was the long form calendar. Now, this calendar was primarily used for agriculture. So you have the short form calendar for more ceremonial practices, a little bit of harvesting and planting, and then you have the long form calendar. This calendar was used for tracking seasons, for planting and harvesting crops. So to determine successful times for planting and harvesting, they would actually combine both. They would combine the short form and long form calendar for optimal times of agriculture activities. So the Maya cultivated a wide range of crops, including corn, beans, squash, chiles, cacao, and various fruits and herbs as well. And the timing of planting and harvesting for each crop will be influenced by the calendar, y'all, as well as certain conditions and everything that's going on. So let's talk about how you can use all of this knowledge and start an ethical tea business. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to businesses, a lot of people they start a business for whatever reason they do have. And that's fine to start your business for, whatever reasons. But if you want to remember indigenous practices, if you want to start an ethical tea business, then here are some tips and tricks to help you do what you do ethically, to help honor the Native people who have always had these traditions, to help keep those practices. And honestly, the main thing comes down to sourcing. So purchase herbs directly from indigenous suppliers. And I know you're like, Abril, who should I purchase them from? Everybody here on this conference knows somebody who knows somebody in somebody's land. Connect with Sister Yaya, okay? She's in Mexico. Connect with Alita. She's in the DR. She told you she has a supplier. So tap into all of these resources that you know to be able to find herbs that grow directly in these lands where they originate from. You can also buy herbs directly from indigenous lands. So there actually are companies that will sell herbs bulk to you. I have so many people who have contacted me from Africa saying, I will be your supplier. And I need to honestly compile a list. I really do. But there's so much going on. I have not done that, and I will work on that. I know that question is coming. I know it's coming. I know it is coming. So back to the chat. What are we talking about? We're talking about shamans. Y'all having your own conversation in the chat. Okay, I'll leave y'all to that. So next, buy herbs. So let's just say if you're like, Abril, I don't know any indigenous folks to source my herbs ethically. I don't know, I can't travel to these lands. What else can I do? Buy your herbs from farmers. Buy your herbs from local farmers. That is another way where you can source your herbs sustainably. You know exactly how it's produced. And most farmers follow regenerative. Hopefully they should try to go by organic farmers to follow regenerative agriculture or permaculture techniques. The next thing, so let's say, Abril, I don't know any local farmers in my area. Just do a quick Google search. I actually think I include a list in one of my courses for farmers. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of melanated farmers who sell herbs, bulk herbs. So if y'all are out there, y'all should start that, because I don't know of any. The only person I know of is Farmer C, and she does not sell bulk herbs. She does sell herbs specifically for her tea blend. But yes, somebody mentioned, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a little parched. I need some water. If conference team can come and give me some water, that would be greatly appreciated. But you can go to farmers markets. And farmers markets is a great way to connect with the local farmers in your area. Let's just say, I don't know of any local farmers. The next thing you can do to use wild crafted herbs. Thank you, conference team. The next thing you can do is to use wild crafted herbs. So that's the next way to practice sustainability. Yes, shout out to Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. The next thing you do is to use wild crafted herbs, as well as grow your own herbs. So let's talk about wild crafted herbs. Give me 1 second, you all. Yes, I need to take a drink. Sorry. Okay. wild crafting herbs. So we're going down a list of how to practice growing or sourcing herbs sustainably. So let's talk about wild crafting. And I know we are over on time. I'm gonna be done in like next 5 minutes, y'all. So I think there was a trickle of people who were over. So thank you. You know what? I use Pellegrino for I don't drink soda at all. And so I use Pellegrino a lot to make a lot of my tea cocktails. And so sometimes I want a little fizzle. Somebody asked in the chat, they talked about Pellegrino. They said they love Pellegrino, so that's why I mentioned it. I use for my tea cocktails. I want a little fizz sometime with my teas. I'm extra fancy, y'all. So a lot of times I will mix my Pellegrinos with my tea, and now I'll just be bougie with a tea cocktail, with a mocktail. So let's get into wild crafting. So again, you're like, Abril, I can't try any of these things. You can try wild crafted, so you can source herbs that are wild crafted. And so wild crafting is a practice of harvesting or gathering plants from natural or wild habitat. Now, these herbs are grown directly in nature and grow without human intervention. They are usually stronger and more potent than cultivated herbs because they are grown in the wild and they're forced to compete with all these other plants out here in the wild to strengthen up their compounds and their nutrients. So without resources like temperature control and fertilizers and pesticides, wild grown plants must use their own defenses for survival. This often yields a very robust and nutrient packed plant. So we're going down the list. If you can't buy from farmers, if you can't buy from indigenous people, wild crafting is the next best sustainable method. Companies that sell wild crafted herbs: Mountain Rose Herbs, Star West Botanicals, Pacific Botanicals, and Frontier Co-op. Go ahead, take a screenshot. All of these companies, when it comes to bulk herbs, if you have to buy your bulk herbs from a big company, majority of you will be purchasing bulk herbs from a big company starting off. If you have to do that, use these companies. These are the companies for me that personally have the best quality of herbs. Mountain Rose being up there. They have more organic herbs than everyone. Now, let's just say you also can wildcraft as well as grow as well. Okay. Now, growing is a little bit harder. That's why I had it on the end. Growing it's a little bit harder. Starting to grow is not hard, but I recently purchased 87 acres of land out here in Georgia. I'm right now at my farm. I'm on 87 acres of land here in Georgia, and I am growing food. And let me tell you, it's not easy. Starting to grow is easy because that's innate inside of all of us. All of us were tenders to the land. Our ancestors tended to the land. So don't say that you cannot grow, you don't know how to grow. Go out there and plant a seed and see what it do. Plant a seed and see what it do, okay? And so when it comes to growing on a mass scale, that's what makes it a little bit more harder. So growing your own herbs can be a great way to make sure that the herbs are used sustainably and ethically sourced. You do not need a lot of land to start. I have 87 acres, but that was because of some other issue. If I could go back in time, I would have only gotten 2 acres of land. Okay, I would have only gotten 2 acres. So you don't need a lot of land. You can cultivate a variety of herbs and medicinal plants on a small plot of land, and they will yield depending on the specific plant and their growth requirements. For example, all you need is a 1/4 acre. Did you all know that a 1/4 acre can grow enough vegetables to feed a family of 4 during the growth season, and you will have a surplus? A 1/4 acre is the size of most backyards in homes. A 1/4 acre, that's it. To put it more into perspective, to harvest 1 pound of chamomile flowers, 1 pound, all you need is about 8 plants. Well, chamomile also spreads too. So all you would need is about 8 plants to get one plant, 1 pound, because that chamomile is going to spread. You don't need that much to harvest to be able to grow 1 pound of chamomile. You don't need that much space. So let's talk about other ways that you can use nature, because guess what? These plants that our ancestors use are it's literally all around us. So there are a variety of natural trees that our ancestors used that grow here in the US. I don't know where you all are on the other side of the world, but there are a lot of natural trees you can use. For example, cedar leaves can be wildcrafted and used for tea. Juniper berries can be harvested from shrubs and added to tea blends. Pine tree needles, we didn't talk about that, but pine tree needles have also been used by indigenous people for respiratory issues. Y'all, when it is cold, when cold and flu season is here, go outside and grab some pine from your pine tree. Grab some pine. That is a potent medicine. That is a potent medicine. Nikki says it's also super high in vitamin C. It is a really potent herb. And let's just say you like, you know what, Abril, I want to start in a tea garden. How can I start a garden? How can I start the growing process? So again, farming on a large scale takes a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. But what I suggest a lot of people to do is to start growing small. And so starting an herbal tea garden is very, very easy. Very easy. These are some herbs I suggest that grow in many hardiness zones, that pretty much grow everywhere, that you can use to start growing. So I call this your herbal tea garden starter kit. All right. Everyone, if you want to start growing herbs, these are the easiest herbs to start and grow. The easiest herbs: mint, chamomile, lemon balm, thyme, rosemary, and basil will grow pretty much everywhere. These are great herbs to start. First of all, mint and chamomile, be mindful if you do grow it. Those are kind of invasive, a little bit invasive, so don't plant them amongst other plants. Mint will take over. It will take over everything, okay? One mint plant, like literally one mint plant I grew is like this big now. So you want to plant your mint separate, as well as lemon balm. Lemon balm will also, it's in the same family. So it will also, and basil grows big. Basil, my little basil plant, it turned to a tree. I have basil trees outside. And even chamomile, I'm growing chamomile here on the land, and chamomile has been taken over too. It will spread. Like it will often spread, the seeds will spread, it will drop, and then boom, a new voluntary plant will come up. And so this is how you can start your own herbal tea garden. And we're gonna wrap it up. I'll let you all know some of the herbs that I grow before I close. This has a whole nother separate part when it talks about business, but we don't have time for that. But as far as the herbs that I grow right now, I'm growing mint, I'm growing lavender, echinacea, chamomile, lemongrass, all of the kitchen herbs, rosemary, thyme, basil, oregano, parsley, cilantro, and some other herbs I can't name. Some other herbs I can't name. Thank you, conference team, for posting my links in the chat. So that's how you can follow me. I am a farmer. Again, I do have 87 acres of land. I am farming out here in Georgia. I am turning my land into an herbal farm and an herbal retreat space where you all can come and learn about herbs and herbal teas. I host herbal retreats as well. So if you all want, I believe all of you, some of you have emailed me yesterday. I will get to those on Monday regarding the herbal retreat. So if you all want to join me this December 2nd through the 7th to Ghana, send me an email. Somebody may have grabbed one of the spots. Somebody paid a deposit. I'm like, I need y'all the link. How'd y'all find the link? But I believe I may, like I said, I may have 1 or 2 spots open. So if you want to come with me to Ghana, December 2nd through the 7th, send me an email. We're going to Ghana. We will be connecting with Togbe. We're going foraging in the forest for herbs. We're collecting herbs to take a spiritual cleansing bath. We are making herbal medicine. We are going to the slave castles to learn about our ancestors. We are going to an indigenous village, an off-grid village. We're going to, if you follow Joshua on Instagram, he has an off-grid eco village where we will live like the ancestors. I'm talking about straight up living like indigenous ancestors. I mean, showering outside. We're using composting toilets. We're literally gathering food from the earth and making food from cacao and from plantains and all of that. So I do have 1 to 2 spots. Send me an email if you would like to go. Please have the retreat is like next month. So only contact me if you have the funds to go. So yes, Talk Base here. Hey, he's in the chat. Yes, we're waiting for you. Yes. So these are my contacts, beautyherbsandtea@gmail.com. You can follow me on YouTube as well. And then that's it. I feel like I've been talking for a very, very, very long time. But that's it. So some of the things to remember when it comes to a tea business is that's just to get you started on an ethical journey. There's also, you have to buy supplies. You have to also craft your blend, formulate your blend. On top of formulating, you have to understand marketing. And marketing is what is going to make you money. Most people do not understand marketing. They start their business and they're like, oh my gosh, now what? I don't know what to do. If you need help in that area, y'all know I got you. Y'all know I got you. I offer courses coming next year. I will be launching a social media marketing company for herbal businesses to help you market and sell your herbal products on Instagram, on social media. That is coming. That is coming. So I got you all with that. If you need help with formulating blends and how to blend medicinal herbal teas, purchase my course, Mastering Tea Blending and Formulation course. Also in the bundle, I'm including a course, my cold and flu, my herbal teas for cold and flu season. That course is in the bundle. I'm including all 3 workshops. All 3 workshops are in the bundle. My tea workshops. We have teas for healthy hair and growth. We have teas for beautiful skin and some great tea cocktails for you to make and enjoy in the summertime or all times of year. Also in the bundle, I think I'm including like 2 or 3 ebooks. I'm spoiling y'all. Yes, the Teas for Hair Growth class was everything. Wait, I missed it. Somebody actually left a review for our Teas for Hair Growth class. Ro Jones says, Abril had a hair growth class. My son's hair has been growing back from patchy alopecia. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh. So you use the herbs from the class and now his hair is growing back. That is so amazing. Yes, y'all, those herbs work. So I actually also suffer from alopecia and I use these herbs to grow my alopecia back. So that's amazing to hear. It's amazing to hear. Y'all, we went over, but the VIP will go over as well. So thank you all again. Grab that bundle. So I mentioned 4 courses, workshops, and like 2 or 3 ebooks in there. Again, it's a collection, 95% off. Togbe has a ebook in there. Alita has a course in there. Farmer C has a course. A lot of the speakers have a course. So that's it, you all. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all so much for sharing this space. Y'all, I am so full right now. I am so full. If you all have questions, answer or ask them in the VIP networking. I do want to end today because a lot of you all, it's been, well, it hasn't been that long, but I've been sitting here for 4 hours. So I do want to end the sessions today, but in our VIP session, which we will join shortly, you all can come off mute and ask me any questions. There are also some people, some of the speakers that might be in there. I think Al might be joining us. I think Tobe might be in there. So you can join the VIP session as well. I'm seeing all of the green and the chocolate hearts in this chat. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, the conference team, to Gabe, who's been out here. Without him, let me tell y'all, get y'all a supportive partner who believes in your dreams, who sees your vision. Get you somebody like that on your team, because Gabe has been coming through. Let me tell y'all exhausted him yesterday. He came out of the other room, was like a brief. He had a headache. He was like so much. But he really has been coming through. He literally answered and responded to over 1,000 emails. He's been responding to emails every day. We're gonna treat him. I told him I'm gonna take him to Mexico after all this is over, just to thank him for doing all of this. So make sure you have someone in your corner who supports your dreams and your vision. And he's watching this. I appreciate you. So we're going to go ahead. I see all of the thanks and gratitude in the chat. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. I would love to hear your voices. I would love to hear your voices. So we're going to close out of this and join the VIP. Remember, it's about 307 of us in here. VIP is just going to be questions. It's going to be also networking. You know, hey, this is my name. If you don't want to come, they're going to be recorded and available after the conference is over. We're sending those out in 72 hours. If you cannot make the first session, join the second session. If it says full, join the next one. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to end it in 30 minutes, and then at 4:05 we'll have another one, or we'll keep going if we're not at capacity. So I'll see you all in there. Bye, you all. Bye.